hello. Listen, I'm sick as a dog. I ate too many caramels. Merry Christmas. Okay, so the oven this is too loud. The oven's probably going to beep in a moment because I'm about to put some sprouts in to roast. Just a second. Okay, so my man is out for a while. He does not do well when he is at home. Like, he is meant to be out and about doing things. And anyway, so he was just everything is closed, right? Like, everything is just, so he was starting to go a little stir crazy. So we had gone out for a drive, and then I said, why don't you drop me home and you just go drive by yourself? And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, go. He's a hermit deep down. So I have some time. We're going to the movies tonight. We're going to go see the new Avatar. Oh, I honestly can't breathe. Fire and Ash, which I don't think either of us are actually interested in it. We just wanted to see something like full of action because we've honestly just been home, and so we're a little bored. All right, so let's continue reading. I'll just pause when the oven goes off, and I'll. Okay. Oh my God, I can hardly take a deep breath. Well, I hope you're all as miserable as I am, in a nice way. All right, and then I gotta jump in the bath. Look at me. I've just been putting this on every day. My hair needs water. I'm just a mess. Oh well. That's how it goes. All right, chapter 10 is entitled Stephen Wyatt. Then the letters began. First it was flowers, a dozen red roses once a week, with a little one-line message on the accompanying card in Ronald's own handwriting. Love, R. Then the phone calls, as regular as clockwork every morning, promptly at 8 a.m., from the Royal Berkshire Clubhouse or from his car phone. Then the letters. Okay. I started to feel the pressure mount, and I knew that I had to tamp down the emotions of this volatile, excitable man. I never want to lose you as a friend. You are the only one I can talk to. Please don't run away. His voice was pleading, cajoling, querulous, yearning, as mercurial as his moods. Or he would relay his feelings about his wives, present and past. There comes a time when you need to share, to talk, to give yourself body and soul to someone that you live for. I have never, ever, in either of my marriages, been able to talk and discuss everything. Oh, poor you, boo-hoo. You know what? That just pisses me off. It's like, you know what? You're the guy who chose these women. You know, even if that were true, which I don't believe it's true for 1 second, do I believe that that's true, that he couldn't talk to them. Need I remind us that he had been cheating on his first wife from the time they were married, like from the very get-go. So really, to turn around and say, I can talk to them. Yeah, no shit. Shocker. Women don't take it too kindly when you're not a faithful husband. You know, neither of them signed up for that. And then to be like, you know, of course, it's just like he shifts the blame. You know, man, Sarah Ferguson is a carbon copy of her father, isn't she? Always blame shifting, you know, no, not I, not me, that I'm not understood, no one understands me, oh, so lonely. Ugh, get a hobby. Okay, hold on, I have to go put the sprouts in, 1 moment. Okay, I got 15 minutes until the timer goes off again, and I gotta go deal with them again. All right, so yeah, like boo frickety who, cry me a river. I've never been able to talk about, so sad and lonely. It ran in the family, an incredible vein of incaution flowing through the bloodstream of the Fergusons like fool's gold. Well, she already said that. That exact phrasing. Hold on, my hair looks wretched. And You can't have it both ways. Through this whole thing, it's been Leslie Player like trying to present two truths. You know, he can't talk to anybody. He is so lonesome. He just is so private. I got flour all over me. Anyway, he's so private. He keeps everything so close to his heart. And then turns around and is like, oh, that's the fool's gold vein of caution flowing through. Oh, okay. I would discover a similar uncontrolled streak in Sarah, impetuous passions bubbling to the surface, spilling over, bringing the headstrong Duchess of York headlong into conflict with those who would try to call her to heel on the establishment leash. I was in the throes of organizing the tournament, meeting confirmed sponsors and potential backers, and fielding the daily calls from Ronald. When I accepted a dinner invitation from a girlfriend named Jacqueline. And that was when, out of the blue, I met Stephen Wyatt. And this is the guy, I believe, that Sarah Ferguson had an affair with. There's so many names that, honestly, I start to forget them. Yes, okay. Texan, yep. Oh, listen to this. Was it lust at first sight? Who can tell? All I know is that I fell for this Texan Romeo during a night of passion that helped me unite with my own sexuality again after months of torment, self-doubt, and frustration. A woman can be as sexy as she wants in her own mind and in her fantasies, but it takes a special man to bring out the full depths of her sensuality, so that all at once she seems like a priceless diamond, but alive with the whole world witnessing the myriad aspects of her radiance. Okay, Stephen Wyatt was such a man. Neither Sarah nor I ever called him Steve, though the press seemed to conclude that it was the right kind of macho name for a celebrated lady killer, the rogue who set the cat among the royal pigeons with the discovery of those first controversial photographs in his London apartment. Okay, so there's the Brian guy, and then there's Steve Wyatt. Steve Wyatt is he's the Texan who there was the picture of of Sarah Ferguson's naked little girl on his knee. They were on a holiday somewhere. I don't know if she was fully naked or just half naked. I don't know. Jacqueline's dinner party took place in the early spring of 1991. So not only did Leslie Player bed Sarah Ferguson's father, but she also had an affair with a guy that Sarah Ferguson had an affair with. What a mess. Jacqueline's dinner party took place in the early spring of 1991 at an elegant townhouse in Chelsea. I arrived at 9 o'clock, late and a little flustered because I had been running around town all day, going to meetings and attending to 101 things. There's flour everywhere. 101 things that needed sorting out, little things that never mattered afterwards but seemed vital at the time. It was one of those days when there just weren't enough hours to go around. I drove up in my Rolls Royce, managed to find a parking place that was not residents only, and where I couldn't get towed away, or worse, clamped, and rang the bell. I'd had no time to change and was casually dressed in black slacks and a crimson hunting jacket. The moment I was shown into the living room by a maid, I realized that I should probably get the prize for the least well-groomed woman on show. Guys, I can hardly breathe. Oh, my word. As I looked around at the bevy of chic cocktail dresses, puffed sleeves, and high heels, I mentally erased the word probably and substituted certainly. It was a buffet dinner, with the table groaning with food, set out in the middle of the dining room, the guests circling around like a bunch of toreadors. Toreador? I don't know. Oh, yeah. Cautiously approaching a bowl. Pride of place in the display went to a huge pink salmon trout. Pink salmon trout nestling. Huge? A trout? I'm confused. Does she mean a salmon or a trout? Pink salmon trout. Salmon trout? Sorry, I'm really caught up on this because I mean, like when I'd go fishing trout as a kid, like trout are small. I mean, you can have like a really large salmon. I've just never heard of like a really large trout. Anyway. Nestling in a bed of green lettuce. Though by the time I walked in, the creature was in a sorry state, looking as if the vultures had been at it. Jacqueline pressed a glass of white wine into my unresisting hand and said, "Come and meet Stephen. He's from Texas." Her voice dropped. "He's an oil, stinking rich, but he's lovely, and he's just right for you." She led me across the room to where a stocky man stood holding court in the center of a rapt group of women. And here we go. This is how we're going to, yet again, she's going to show us how she's not like other girls. Because she showed up in just pants and a riding jacket, and everyone else was in a cocktail dress. So he noticed her right away. That's what I'm expecting. We'll see. She led me across the room to where a stocky man stood holding court in the center of a rapt group of women. I could see that they were hanging on to his every word as if they were in the presence of the second coming. Stephen was in his late 30s, around 5'8", with a thatch of brown hair and soft blue eyes like a puppy. With his permanent tan and easy charm, he reminded me of the American actor George Segal, and radiated a similar boyish appeal. Jacqueline managed to exert her authority as hostess and find a gap in the gaggle. "Stephen, meet Leslie. She's just arrived. Leslie, this is Stephen." "How are you?" The voice was low, rich, confident. He couldn't shake hands because he had a plate in one hand and a glass in the other, but his smile was enough, the sort of wicked smile a girl should be warned about, in the same way she's warned about taking sweets from strangers. I had never heard of Stephen Wyatt, and therefore knew nothing about his reputation, but suddenly the room seemed to belong only to the two of us. Other voices faded into a murmur as he expertly backed me into a corner and started firing questions at me. Not unpleasantly, like a cross-examination, but as if they came from a genuine interest in me. "Have you ever been to the States?" "Yes, twice." "I hear you play polo." "Well," I said, "I can stay on a pony, just about." I told him how I practiced at various polo grounds like Cowdray Park, the Royal Berkshire, but taking care to omit the name of Major Ronald Ferguson. "How did you learn?" It seemed as if he really wanted to know. I told him about my trip to California, about the forthcoming tournament, and his eyes danced with enthusiasm. "That is just great," he said. "It's going to be terrific. I know it is." "Do you have any boyfriends?" The question was so direct it took me aback. "Of course," I said, smiling. "Hundreds of them. You'll find them queuing outside." He liked that, and we laughed together. It was highly flattering, and I readily succumbed to his obvious flirtation. Here was a ladies' man, I could tell. But somehow I wasn't offended by the very unsubtle approach. Charm is everything. Other women came and went. Stephen contrived politely to take them into his aura for a few minutes, and just as charmingly get rid of them, but he monopolized me throughout the evening. Oh, she is so insufferable. I don't like her at all, if I'm perfectly honest. Like, she really annoys me. I wonder where she is now. At 10:30, like, I wonder how she feels about this book now. Like, did she ever grow out of it? Like, this whole shenanigans that she's putting on? I tried to search her on Google, but I couldn't find anything about her. Like, there's nothing. So if any of you have more skills than me, or if you're on social media, I'm not on social media, but if you're on social media, like, someone do some digging. I just wonder what happened to her. Did she ever have her 2 sets of twins? I'd like to know. Did she have children? At 10:30 p.m., he looked at his watch. "I've got to go," he said, then looked directly at me. "I'll call you." He didn't even add, "Okay." "You don't know my number," I said. "I'll get it," he responded. I sensed that he was reluctant to see other people watching him take my number. Yet he ostentatiously made a point of taking other women's numbers as he circled the room saying goodbye to them. Why was I so special not to be asked? Oh, please. This is so... Oh, my... It was only when I was driving home an hour later that I realized that I didn't even know his surname. The phone rang next day as I was at my desk going through my diary for the week. "Hi, this is Stephen. I told you I'd call." His voice was quietly pleased with himself. "How did you get my number?" Oh, let me guess, before even reading the next line, maybe the hostess of the party gave it to him? Just a thought. Jacqueline gave it to me. Shocker. I hope you don't mind. No, I said. I don't mind. Good. He sounded relieved. Perhaps I should explain that I didn't want to embarrass you by taking your number down in front of everyone. That didn't stop you from taking the others, I said, trying not to sound tart. He chuckled. That they don't count, he said softly. You do. There was a pause. Will you have dinner with me? Why not? When had you in mind? Tonight. Christ, I thought. He moves fast. I consulted my diary. That night I had to attend a reception at the Mansion House, an important function for me because it would be an opportunity to meet some top city businessmen and bankers. Sorry, I said. The easiest I can do is Thursday. Thursday was only 2 days away. Okay, Thursday it is, he said without hesitating. I'll call you in the morning to confirm when and where. The phone clicked off. Prompt at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, he came through again. Hi, he said without preamble. We're not going out for dinner tonight. We're not? The man had called me to tell me our date was off? Well, I'm sure the date isn't off, but even if the date was off... Oh, anyway, forget it. No, I'm going to cook you dinner in my apartment. He sounded as if he were doing me a favor. Oh. I couldn't think of anything else to say. Listen, he said, I want to tell you that you are a very privileged lady because I never cook dinner for one person in my apartment. Well, maybe once, but I can't wait to meet you again. And also I want to tell you that I am really taken with your energy and your enthusiasm about the way you live your life. I want to know a lot more about you. Let me tell you something. If men talk to you this way, it's not a compliment. It means they think that you're an easy mark. Like, anyway, okay. Because this is how fuckboys talk. Like, this isn't how real people talk. Okay. It went on in the same vein for several minutes, but the upshot was that I finally said yes, though with a few misgivings. I remembered that smile. Later I found that the other lucky recipient of Stephen Wyatt's culinary and associated arts was Sarah. But now Stephen's voice was coming down the phone with the friendly persuasiveness of a politician telling us we had never had it so good, or were about to anyway. He gave me the address and made me repeat it to make sure that I had got it right. Number 34, Cadogan Square, an elegant, high-class area where Chelsea meets Knightsbridge, and where the wealthy and famous have their London homes. Film stars, millionaire businessmen, and socialites rub shoulders as they head off to the rarefied shopping precincts of Harrods, Habitat, and sundry other top-bracket establishments within walking distance. Restaurants for celebrity seekers, such as the San Lorenzo in Beauchamp Place, or for discerning palates, such as the English House in Milner Street, are just around the corner. Stephen had chosen his London pad well. His directions were explicit, almost overly so. He sounded quite anxious on the phone that I should know exactly where to go and what to do when I got there. It was as if he didn't want me hanging around on the pavement asking directions of anyone. I mean, I'm sure she's like setting up, like, obviously he doesn't, because that's how fuckboys work. Like, and he just didn't want anyone to know that they were meeting. He didn't want anyone to know he was taking her number. Like, it's not because she's special. It's because he's a dick. All right, hold on. I gotta deal with these. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, things are falling out. Oh, hold on a second. So these are gonna be impossible to see. You know, if like Ronald had his eyebrows trimmed, like he wouldn't be bad looking. It's the eyebrows are just really off-putting for me anyway. Like, because he has sort of like a boyish look to his face. It's just those damn eyebrows. Okay, the captions say above the indoor pool and below the kitchen where the Major invented our code name tomato soup. What code name? Like, what is... She said code name, but it seems like he uses it as a nickname, so I don't understand. It's a really nice kitchen. Holy smokes. I mean, the house is obviously stunning. The pool, gorge. I don't know if this is going to pick it up. So, that's the pool. That's the pool. Gorgeous. Here's the kitchen. Also gorgeous. I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. So he's, telling her instructions as though he doesn't want anyone to see her. Well, surprise. Hate to tell you, that's probably exactly it. Press button 3 and it will be the door marked F on the second floor. He instructed. Got it? I've got it, I told him, scribbling down. Button 3, second floor, door F. 7 o'clock, he said. I'll be waiting. He was, too. I had dressed casually but elegantly, in a white silk blouse and a black evening skirt, with black tights and polo Ralph Lauren black shoes with heels that were high without being obvious. Over my shoulder I had draped a Max Mara woolen sweater. I had no idea or intention of sleeping with Stephen Wyatt that night, and I had dressed more for comfort than effect. How could I know that 4 hours after walking into his apartment, I would be in bed with this guy? After breaking the rule of a lifetime and sleeping with a man on our first date, we're all shocked. It seems like every time sex comes into the picture, she's like, I'm so surprised. Like, girl, get a life. Come on. I pressed the buzzer marked 3. Instead of the door opening, there was Stephen's stocky figure hustling down the stairs to answer the main door himself. He escorted me up the 2 red carpeted flights to his flat. Inside, a large hallway opened out onto a spacious lounge that doubled as a dining room. I noticed a telephone on a cane table just inside the reinforced door. It's burglar-proof, Stephen mentioned casually. The sitting room was a vast expanse large enough to swing an elephant in, let alone your average cat. Beige wallpaper, matching curtains, 3 bay windows looking down onto the leafy square. I caught a glimpse of half a dozen architectural prints neatly arranged on the far wall before Stephen waved me through towards the kitchen. Through the open door, my nostrils caught a delicious aroma of something cooking in a saucepan on the stove. I sniffed appreciatively. Pheasant? Right, Stephen looked pleased. In a casserole. And a few other things, too. Can you really tell what pheasant is by sniff? Really? I always thought that fowl, all fowl just kind of smells like... You can tell it's a bird. But I'm a pleb, so what do I know? The few other things turned out to be a duck pate, a tossed salad to go with the casserole, and a cheesecake as the dessert. A table in the dining area by the windows had been meticulously laid for 2, with placemats, silver cutlery, cut glass, and 2 different wines and water. And candles, black candles. Come and talk to me in the kitchen, Stephen said, leading the way. He had welcomed me into the flat with a courteous peck on the cheek, nothing more. I looked around the small modern kitchen with its red motif tiles. There were plates and dishes everywhere, a bowl of half-prepared salad beside a chopping board with green peppers and onions on it. And in the corner I couldn't help but noticing a bundle of empty Harrods bags. I felt the first faint flutter of excitement. Stephen really had gone to the most enormous trouble. A glass of wine? I'd love wine. He produced a bottle of chilled Merceau from the fridge. Delicious. And in the corner, with its cork out to allow it to breathe, a bottle of red Chateau Lafite Rothschild. Very expensive. There were no chairs, so I hoisted myself onto one of the cupboards and sat watching him as he busied himself chopping onions. Stephen was very easy to talk to. It was as if we had known each other for years instead of days. He had that gift of making a girl relax almost in the first breath. Yes, that's because he's a player. They always know how. Ugh. I found myself telling him about my background, my upbringing, and regaling him with stories about university life that had him hooting with laughter. Oh, guys, she's so funny. Men love her. Okay. Then he started talking about himself. There was no ice to break. But if there had been, it would have been dispelled immediately with his discovery that I really had not the slightest notion who he was. He kept asking, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And I didn't. It was a bit weird because he was almost paranoid about that one area, but he soon calmed down, and the evening got back on course. Finally, he stared at me for a long moment, and then said, "You really don't know who I am, do you?" "No," I said. "Why? Are you somebody special?" "No," he said hastily. "No, I'm not," but he hesitated. "But I do want you to get to know me first before anyone else tells you about me." That's always a red flag. That's a red flag. If someone says that, like, okay, before someone else has a chance to tell you about, like, all the things about me, I want you to get to know me. Okay? It's like, okay, sir, are you all right? And we know why, because he's been hopping in the sack and everywhere else with Sarah Ferguson. And so he's like, yeah, she's got pictures in here of, like, this girl went all out. She's like, here's the pictures he gave me. Like, she has them all laid out, displayed, to take photographs of them for this book. Like, look at this. Older men make better lovers. Okay. Apparently, Ronald had that made himself. Okay. I thought he was referring to the jolly little circle whose phone numbers he had snapped up at Jacqueline's party a week ago. I could just imagine the poison tongues at work if they found out I was having a gourmet dinner cooked for me by the man they had all been hungering after. We went into the living room, passing by 2 mustard-colored sofas and a low antique coffee table to get to the dining area. I caught my reflection in a large mirror above the open slate fireplace, and then Stephen was holding a chair for me to sit down. What a gentleman, I thought. I had no idea then, but this was the table, this was the room, this was the flat that Sarah had visited to create a furor in the world's press and cause 2-inch headlines like "Dangerous Liaisons" to scream out their message to a scandal-hungry public. Nor did I know then that it was here in this apartment, which he owned and which would cost £575 a week to rent, that the damning photographs of Sarah and Stephen had been found. Photographs that whipped the speculation into a fever that would start the boat really rocking for the Yorks' already fragile marriage. No, I had no idea as I sat down that evening to dinner that the speculation was at its height, and that the tabloids were speaking openly of the intensity of Fergie's friendship with Texan oil tycoon Steve Wyatt. How on earth could I have missed it all? Don't ask me, but I did. Do we believe that? Okay, someone who is in Britain, please tell me. If you were living in the UK during this time, please tell me if you could have missed it. You know, buying your groceries, just knocking about, you know, because I feel like when something's really big news, it's hard to miss. Like, there are news stories that I have never read about them, but I know they exist because I've stood in a checkout line. So please, someone enlighten me. Is it truly possible to miss all this? Okay. The casserole was excellent, tender and succulent. It was worthy of a top restaurant. 1 star in the Michelin Guide, I said approvingly. Stephen looked pleased. I'm glad you appreciate good cooking, he said in that half-joking, half-serious way of his. That first evening, with the flickering candles carving laughter lines across his handsome features. And he was good-looking. This Texan they called a cross between Bobby Ewing? I don't know. And the Incredible Hulk. We spanned the universe together. Oh, what is she talking about? What is she on about? We spanned the universe together over our casserole. And beyond. Because Steve was interested in spiritualism and, like me, in self-improvement and creating greater awareness of the mind. I even told him of my own ideas of God and the hereafter, something I never, ever did with an almost total stranger. So we talked. How we talked. She said that about Ronald, too. How we talked. Of this and that and anything and everything, but somehow nothing mundane. Small talk was for the birds that night. I can tell you right now, from my experience with relationships, the ones that were the most like, oh, so deep, all we do is talk, deep, thoughtful conversations. Those are the ones that didn't last. You can't keep that up. Like when I met my man now, we didn't talk deeply right away. He just made me laugh. He made me laugh and laugh. Like, he still makes me laugh every single day. But he just had me laughing. Like, that's the first thing. That's why I decided to go on a date with him. Is because when he asked me, that's what made me decide to go. Is because he had already been making me laugh in our conversations prior to him asking me. But the relationships or the guys that I dated, that it was all like these deep intellectual philosophical conversations, like, those die because you cannot keep that up. And then when that's gone, it's like suddenly you think that there's nothing left. It's the weirdest thing. Better to laugh first and then have deep conversations, because you always can come back to laughter. You know what I mean? Like, laughter will keep you going. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. Oh, how we talked. Oh, small talk was for the birds that night. But despite the intensity of our discussions, there was a whole heap of humor, too. Oh, guys, she's got it all. The strange thing is that Stephen didn't shoot a great line to get me between the sheets. He wasn't coming on to me at all. And that's the biggest come on for a woman. The fact that he wasn't making suggestive overtures or trying to rush me into bed. Women like to be chased, even in this enlightened day and age. I started to wonder, why not? What's wrong with this guy? He had talked to me. He'd cooked for me. We'd drunk wine by candlelight and sweet music. And then, nothing. But Stephen was an artist with women. He knew how to make them feel special. He had a rare gift. He knew that if women are pushed away, they'll come back. They are fascinated by men like that because it's a subtle challenge to their femininity, to their emotions, to their own physical needs. If only other men could learn that. Oh, she's so dumb. Anyway, I'm not even going to unpack that whole thing because wild. It's not a rare gift, okay? That is just an elite player. The best fuckboys I've ever met, they do this. They charm you, and then they leave it open for you to make the first move. They get you right to that point where you think that they're like going to kiss you or something. And then they just like kind of hold back until you kiss them first, or you make a move first. You say something first. And then they can twist it around on you in the end when everything's gone to pot. That's how they work. All right, hold on. The sprouts are ready to come out of the oven. Okay, now the potatoes are going. Oh, ho hum. All right, so he just has a rare gift, you know. He just knows. Around 11, I said, I think I'd better go. He gave me a small smile and poured more Chateau Lafite into my glass. He kept his arm around my shoulder, then casually bent and turned my face gently up to his and kissed me softly on the lips. You need a hug, he said. You're a person who needs to be hugged. Uh, He lifted me slowly from the chair, and we embraced by the table. The next thing I knew, Stephen had swept me up in his arms and was carrying me into the bedroom. Talk about romance. This girl is mental. She's crazy. I suppressed a squeal. On the bed, half a dozen teddy bears stared up at me from the pillows. What is this? Memories of my recurring dream came flooding back, but I pushed them firmly aside. Instead, I dramatically swept the toys off onto the floor. This was one picnic where teddy bears were definitely not welcome. Why does a grown man have teddy bears on his bed? Half a dozen? He has 6 teddy bears on his bed? That's bizarre. Stephen looked... Timmy, behave yourself. Stephen looked surprised and amused, but made no comment. He must have slipped out at some point earlier to arrange it. Music was being piped through from the record player, and the exquisite strains of Vivaldi filled the room as he laid me gently on the huge double bed with its bedspread of dark burgundy. I realized that I was being expertly seduced, but I didn't care. I was literally swept off my feet. The bedroom itself was very ethnic, with carvings on the bureau and colorful paintings on the walls. Stephen put a finger to his lips. "Shh, don't move or say anything," he said. "Timothy." Then he started to undress me. As a lover, Stephen was wild. As he undressed me, he talked quietly, soothingly, in that rich, hypnotic voice. That makes me feel sick. Honestly, please. Oh, God. What? Oh, Lord. So he's yapping, and his hands were gentle and caressing as his fingertips softly located my erogenous zones with the touch of an expert. I swiftly forgot my guilty feelings about it being the first time on a first date, and found myself completely relaxing under the touch of an erotic master. He started with my high-heeled shoes, then my dress, then the rest. When he had taken all my clothes off and I lay stretched out like a sacrifice on the altar of passion, he slipped quickly out of his own things. Stephen was very gentle, very tender, very caring, and, as our caresses grew more intense, very passionate. In terms of sheer sensuality, he gave me everything that Ronald could not or would not give me. As we explored each other's bodies, the only drawback I could find was that Stephen was even hairier than Ronald. It is a physical feature that has never appealed to me in men. Okay. It didn't really matter. I had noticed it, but it had no effect on my feelings for him. We laughed a lot and talked a lot. Stephen knew how to make a woman happy, and that night I was delirious, ecstatic, lost in the kind of haze they normally write about in Mills and Boon novels. Significantly, neither of us had been drinking much. Both those beautiful bottles of wine were still half full on the table in the next room, and the cork stayed in the champagne bottle by the bed. There was no tipsy rolling around in the hay, nor would there ever be between us. There was no need for it, and we both instinctively knew that the act of love was too precious to abuse. Oh, please. She imbues all these men with qualities they don't possess. Ugh. When it was all over, he wrapped his arms around me and we slept together like 2 children. I didn't stay the night. Around 2 o'clock, I awoke and tickled his nose with one finger to tease him awake. "I'm sorry," I whispered, "but I've got to go." "Must you?" he said drowsily. "Stay the night, please." "I can't," I said. "I'm a working girl, remember? I've got to be in the city in the morning." "Go straight from here," he argued. "I'll bring you breakfast in bed, champagne and hot croissants." Oh, sweet temptation. But I steeled myself and said firmly, "No. I'd love to, but no." "Maybe next time," he said. "Maybe," I said, slipping out of his arms. Before heading for the bathroom, I bent over and kissed his cheek. "I'm glad there'll be a next time." And in all those intimate hours we had spent together, not once was the name of Sarah or her father mentioned. Not yet. I don't know. What do you all think? Honestly, this is torture, but also it's interesting. Oh. This is just a mess. What a mess. Oh, here's a good... She chose this picture on purpose. He's literally blinking. My dashing Texan lover, Steve Wyatt, but behind my back he was playing a double game with the Duchess of York. Well, I think she was there first, so really it's behind her back. The man himself. Like, could she not have found a better picture? He is literally mid-blink. Like, he looks like he's not okay. He looks better here. Like, he looks handsome here. But here, are you kidding me? My dashing Texan lover. She probably ruined her life with this book, I would imagine. You know, no one wants to... What? Oh, this is the bedroom where they just did the deed. Right down there, it said Steve Wyatt's bedroom, teddy bears and Vivaldi. That doesn't look at all like what she described, does it? To me. Like, would you not go cross-eyed? Look at that. Look at the wallpaper. Look at the bedspread. I would, my vision would be like, these are all falling out. Oh well, it makes them easier to show you. What else? Well, that's her house. Gable cot right there. It must be quite large in the back, like it must stretch out in the back. And there's the girl herself. See, like, she's cute, but she's not, you know, like I said, she's not a glamour puss. She's insufferable, though. Well, I think that's enough. Like, honestly, like, one chapter's enough. It's funny, though. Like, I am enjoying it, but it's rough at the same time. Okay, that's enough. I'm done. I shall meet you again. Please comment. Let me know how you're liking this book. After the holidays, we'll get back into the royals. It's just that I never know how long I'm going to read, and this is just an easier, ironically, one to get through. Because it has really short little chapters. Because where are we? We're almost halfway through it already. Okay, I hope you're having a great Boxing Day. I will see you very soon.